cyclin E, cyclin A along with the CDK2, they drives the cell cycle from G1 to S phase. Likewise, cyclin A, cyclin B along with CDK1 drives the cell cycle from G2 to M phase. Once the cell cycle progressed into S phase, then the levels of cyclin E, A and CDK2 gets diminished. Likewise, once the cell cycle progressed into M phase, the levels of cyclin A, B and CDK1 gets diminished. That means they gets destroyed by various mechanisms present in the cell.
So up to here in the cell signaling pathway, some of the proteins are much crucial. One of the most important is MAP kinase. So what is MAP kinase? They are mitogen activated protein kinases. They are also known as ERK. ERK means extracellular signal regulated kinases. They are a kind of serine threonine protein kinases that communicate by adding phosphate groups to the downstream proteins. Downstream proteins means various ribosomal proteins, some of the transcriptional factors like CREB that we have already studied. Another example is CMYC. It also activates MNK protein. So this RAS, RAF, MEK, MAP kinase pathway, that is also known as MAP kinase pathway, OERK pathway. So this pathway that includes a series of proteins that communicates each other, so that passes a signal from the extracellular environment to the nucleus. See here, from the extracellular environment to the cytosolic region, and a series of proteins get activated. We have told that this RAS, RAF, MEK, then MAP kinase. That pathway is also known as MAP kinase pathway or ERK pathway that phosphorylates some of the transcription factors. So these transcription factors moves to the nucleus and then that transcribes some of the genes involved in the cell cycle. So that is the importance of this MAP kinase pathway. Another most important protein in this cell signaling is RAS protein. We have already studied that RAS is a membrane anchored protein, and this is a kind of small GTPase, and it activates or transfer or phosphorylates a number of proteins that may be involved in the cell growth, cell differentiation, cell survival, etc. Here in this topic, we have already concentrated on the cell signaling pathway that may finally lead to the cell cycle. Coming back to the structure, the RAS may be composed of around 6 strands of beta sheets and 5 alpha helices. It's having 2 domains. One is G domain and another one is C-terminal membrane target region. It may be also known as CAX box. This is a lipid modified that may be by farnesyltransferase. Coming back to the G domain, it may be composed of around 166 amino acids having a size of around 20 kilodalton. So that domain binds guanosine nucleotide. It's having a 5G motif. 2 amino acid residues are much more important. They may be represented as D and Q61. D that represents aspartate 57. That means aspartate at 57th position of that. This is much more important because this aspartate that selects the GTP instead of ATP. Otherwise, the ATP can also get binds with the RAS protein. So this D protein that is aspartate at the 57th position that prevents the binding of ATP. That means it selects GTP instead of ATP. And another residue that is Q61 that represents glutamine at the 61th position of this RAS protein. This is crucial because that activates the hydrolysis of the bounded GTP to GDP. So that's why these two amino acid residues are much more important.
The RAS that can exist as two different forms. One is GTP bonded form and another is GDP bonded form. RAS with GTP bonded form is an active one. That means it can provide a signal to the downstream proteins, but RAS with GDP bonded form is an inactive one, so it cannot provide a signal downwards. That means once this RAS gets stimulated, then it will become GTP bonded form and provides a signal downwards. But when this Q61 residue, that means glutamine 61 residue hydrolyzes GDP, then it will become GDP bonded form. Then that GDP bonded form of the RAS is an inactive one. Then from there on, it will become an inactive. It cannot provide signals downwards. This is how the RAS protein gets regulated.